And I'm also giving thanks to my spiritual father, Inishana Bakal. I am here to do all of your work, and I thank you all for your continued energetic blessings and support. Greetings, dear soul. I am Crispy, a Gaian, Mayan, Pleiadian, emissary of light. Een Lak'esh, Alakin, I am another you, you are another me, we are one consciousness. And today I'm doing the extended version, the DJ remix of my presentation at the Pleiadians Conference. And I'm using Zoom to record this today so that I can just bring up my PowerPoint like I did at the conference. So let's get started with that. Share my screen first. Yes, very good. And go over here. All right. I'm going to get me out of the way as much as possible. And here we go. So this was my presentation from 1 week ago at the Pleiadians Conference, which you can still access at Portal to Ascension. Now, what I brought to everyone was the following information, starting with Carlos Barrios from his one and only amazing book. The Purest Mayan tradition says that we are intimately related to the cluster of stars known as the Pleiades, the origin of reality, the manifestation of life and all knowledge, which is a lot. And he says, in the Guatemalan highlands, they say the Maya come from the Pleiades, including the crystal skulls. Now, it's important to know that not all of the Maya say they are from the Pleiades. And I believe that's actually true, which will get more fleshed out as we go along. Maybe I'll leave me over here. No, bye-bye me. Next, he says, when humanity was lost after the Great Father punished them for having become vain and forgetting their creator, he sent our first grandfathers, the Balameb, Balam Kitse, Balam Akab, Mahu Kutaj, and Iki Balam. They came from Zob Ushe Chumil, or the Pleiades. These were great wise men, visionaries, and incredible wizards. They taught us all of the arts and gave us knowledge, because this place where our first fathers came from is where reality occurs. So the Pleiadian connection is truly cosmic, my friends. Now we're moving on to Don Alejandro Cerrito Perez Oslaj, Tata Alejandro, who you may know from the Shift of the Ages movie, which I hope you have seen. If not, it is on YouTube. Please watch it right after this. Now, he said here in the Mayan Cross website, which I have summed up, the Creator sent 4 prophets from the Pleiades to assist the creation of the Maya, and the prophets taught them everything they need to know, which is the calendar and how to build pyramids, among other things. On that same website, a little farther down, you'll see this, which I have summed up by saying, he said the prophets from the Pleiades first came to Mesoamerica to establish the Maya, then they returned to the Pleiades, and they came back 3 more times. Now, interestingly, Don Alejandro is called Empowering Reincarnation. That's the thumbnail for his birthday video, which is on my YouTube channel, which you're watching this on right now. And his wife of many, many years, who traveled the world with him, enjoyed it and said she was sure he would like it too. And now we move on to Miguel Angel Vergara from Casaquin. And he says that the Mayan teachers are from the Pleiades, and there they are again, Balam Kitse, Balam Akab, Mahukuta, and Ikibalam. Now, in the Popol Vuh, the Mayan creation myth, this is my copy that I've had for over 25 years. To sum up, and then their wives came, truly beautiful women, and they were happy at heart and wide awake. The wives became ladies of rank and gave birth to the people of the tribes, great and small. So 8 people came from the Pleiades, and they were husband and wife, and they had children, and those children had children, and they probably also bred with the Maya who were alive at the time. It's a little unclear, so we'll just leave that aside for now. Next person we're talking from is Hunbat's men. And in this book, he says, since the very beginning, the Maya have claimed that the Pleiades is the axis of life on Earth. They consistently included this constellation in their various calendars. These people all believe the seeds of human consciousness originated in the Pleiades, which is called Tzolk by the Maya. And so this number 13 is the key to understanding how the Mayan calendars work together or synchronize to express cosmic laws. The Maya had 13 constellations in their zodiac. They included the Pleiades. Thus, for the ancient Maya, the Pleiades represented the principle of life. Mayan religion and mathematics were intimately connected with the 7 stars or sons of the Pleiades, and all the calendars were also connected to the Pleiades. After much investigation and contemplation, we realized that this calendar was used by the Maya to keep track of their sons, hence the name Tzolk. This calendar is related to the 7 stars or sons of the Pleiades, which in the Mayan tradition are known as the 7 brothers of my father, the sun. Accordingly, the Maya dedicated one of their calendars, the Tzolk, to the Pleiades. Now, I had the good fortune of a one-day conference with Hunbat, and he signed my copy of this book that I've had of his since 1999. And now we're going to move on to the Pleiadian perspective, and possibly the queen of all Pleiadian channelers, who wrote these 4 books, among other things, and is still channeling, by the way. Next week, she turns 76 years old. And if you want to see her birthday, she's called Reflecting Sun Goddess, or Reflecting Solar Chief, if you like to go with the gender neutral term. It's on my YouTube channel. So she says, the Maya called themselves day keepers. We call them keepers of time. They are associated, of course, with the Pleiades system. They are masters at going into and out of time events. So already we're getting multidimensional here. The word Maya refers to the illusion of reality. The Maya were so advanced as keepers of time that they literally were able to create realities to steer future seekers toward or away from discovering their true identity. The Maya had many secrets. The clues they left for the outside world were clues to lead you, deceive you, and trick you, to have the archaeologists see one thing and the spirit eyes see another. The Maya knew that one day their time would come and they would leave the planet. And they knew that one day their knowledge, their keys, would be uncovered and discovered by the family of light, by you. And that is us, my friends. We are the family of light. We are light workers. We are star seeds. We are way showers, one and all. The Mayan keepers of time were able to anchor on Earth the data that would make sense to future generations because they were multi-dimensional. They could travel backward, forward, and sideways in time, and their civilization was based upon time travel. They left many clues to this story buried throughout the land of Mexico. Their now became more meaningful because it was their purpose to grow a now that would benefit nows outside of their now. I love that. But wait, there's more. The Maya certainly did not make their first appearance in the time period that you are led to believe they existed. They were on your Earth many times prior to that, thousands and thousands, and I would say tens of thousands of years ago. In actuality, they can move to the completion of the universe as easily as they can move to the beginning of the universe. So now you can see that the Maya are not just the people of Mexico, Belize, Honduras, Guatemala, Costa Rica. They're not the people of Earth, okay? Very simply. We're going to add to that, my friends. Here we go. We as Pleiadians are a game master experiment. The game masters are formless, and yet they can overlay themselves and infuse themselves in many different shapes. Game masters are brilliant. They create the entire blueprint for a civilization and seed themselves into the civilization as well. The Maya were masters at doing this. They were skilled at confounding realities. Their world was in the Pleiades, yet they certainly did not reside there. They had their own world. The Maya meant to create the paradigm, the description of what is going to occur, the cycles that your Earth goes through, and the cycles of time that are based on cosmic doorways. The Maya, those master tricksters of time, have left you a number of clues with which to play this game. The Mayan calendar is well worth considering. That's a bit of an understatement, but let's move on for now. And bring in a little bit from the person who was born Joseph Anthony Arguelles, and who wrote this book, among others. And he said that he was listening to a lecture from Hunbatz, and he said, Hunbatz said, our solar system is the seventh such system that the Maya have charted. And Jose said, there is no question that my meeting with Hunbatz was the most crucial event in my long history of working with the Mayan material. Now, perhaps it's because I'm an English teacher that I couldn't help but notice the misspelling of Humbats. It's Hunbatz because the Hun means oneness, wholeness, fullness, creation, and is the same hun as the hunab, which oddly enough, Jose spelled correctly in his book. So, a little bit of monkey business going on there. Now, also on my YouTube channel, you can find this video in which you can hear a lot more than I'm going to play.
ETs contacted the Mayans.
The Maya are the descendants of extraterrestrials. That particular humanoid species came to Earth, established colonies, built many of the structures that you understand that exist in those regions on your planet. But in that sense, it is the Maya themselves that built those things, those ancient extraterrestrial ancestors that came to Earth. It's simply that some of them chose to remain on Earth when the majority of the Maya left.
So there's more. Please go listen to that. And of course, you should watch Bashar's Mayan birthday video. Now, we're going to move on to Barbara Ann Clow, who wrote and channeled the Pleiadian agenda. And she said the Maya created the Mayan great calendar called the Tzolk to show you how to create a future intention. The Maya gave this calendar to our solar system, the Pleiades, 104,000 years ago. And our ancient journey with the calendar made us who we are today. Therefore, I have come from your future to help you comprehend what you have been offered. Now, in this book, if you're not familiar with the Pleiadian agenda, Barbara channels many, many different entities. This voice here is Satya, who is a astronomer connected to Alcyone, the brightest star of the Pleiades. And I believe she was what we would call a librarian in the Akashic records of the Pleiades, okay? And there are many other entities channeled in this book. Next, she said, we Pleiadians are getting increasingly excited as we watch you unfold according to the Mayan timing cycle, since we have already experienced this exquisite apotheosis of love. We look through your eyes into your new world as if through a periscope, and your movie is getting rave reviews. Yeah. As you will see when Tzolk comes forth, the genius of the Mayan Great Calendar is its length, 26,000 years, and it's actually not exactly 26,000 years, which I'll explain later, because that is the length of time it takes for a critical leap in human evolution. And now I'm going to show you some of what Barbara channeled as the Tzolk itself. And here we go, even more multidimensional and cosmic. Whoa, back up. I, Tzolk, felt the cry of the goddess, and I knew it was time for us, Maya, to come to Earth to ensure the availability of snake medicine. The goddess called us Maya into linear space and time. So here we can see that Tzolk, which she later goes on to tell us in this book, that the Tzolk is what I would call a collective consciousness that exists in the 9th dimension. She says it is the 9th dimension, but to me, that would mean there's nothing else in the 9th dimension. So I believe that the Tzolk is somehow intimately connected with the Maya, who can physicalize into the 3rd dimension, which overlaps with the 4th, obviously, and then can include the 5th, density. So 3rd dimension, 4th dimension, 4th density, and 5th density are the Maya, who can go into 6th density and 6th dimension, which I believe is non-physical, and the core or the root of all sacred geometry, which then intimately connects to the 9th. 3, 6, 9 is all reflections of each other. They all are, but let's move on. And in her book, The Mayan Code, she says, this tie-in with the Mayan calendar took me farther with my own dimensional model, since the Pleiadians say 9D is Tzolk. As we know, the 260-day calendar is the Tzolk. So it was a mystery to me why the Pleiadians said this. But this idea at least cued me into realizing that time is located in 9D. And then she finishes off with, the Mayan calendar encourages us to see that everything that exists is an expression of a profound and ordered intelligence. And I agree. So, what is the divine Mayan Tzolk calendar anyway? Well, my friends, it is this: 20 glyphs or images or pictures or day signs or day symbols, and 13 tones. And these tones are called numbers, and they are numerical, as in 1, 2, 3, 4, up to 13, but they are not quantity. And as Hunbat's men told us, the ancient Maya used more than 17 different calendars, all of which were synchronized with the Tzolk, the master calendar that contains all the numerical patterns found in the other calendars. So these 13 tones, this word tone reflects their vibration. It's not quantity, it's quality, it's vibration. It is type or even aspect. So there are 13 types or 13 qualities or varieties of every of the 20 glyphs. Now, the 13-day cycle can also be seen like this, because it is. And this 13 and 20 loop together like this. They can also be seen as a grid like this. The top left is day 1. And if you go down, 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 you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is a bar, 6 is a bar and a dot. Then we have 13, 3 dots and 2 bars, and the next is 1, and then 7 at the bottom. And all the way over on the bottom right is another 13. So that is 260 days of the Tzolk calendar. Now, if you take off the pretty colors and stack them up like that, you get this amazing visual that hopefully you can feel into and understand what that means, which I will discuss a little later. And it's also important to know that the whole thing is actually a spiral that keeps going and going and going. Now, here is where the 20 and 13, which is also 1320, of course, is related to the human body. We all have, barring accident or anomaly, 20 fingers and toes, and we all have 13 major joints: ankle, knee, hip, wrist, elbow, shoulder, and neck being the mirrored column, the 7th, mirroring the 6 on the other side. So 2013, hopefully now you can see the 2 outer bars actually represent DNA. One more thing, on planet Earth, throughout history, let's just say the last 260,000 years up until today, the average of every single pregnancy is precisely 260 days. Now, recognizing that the Tzolk is a mathematical genius template, I began looking at it closely, and I will email you this if you're interested. But here is the pattern, just one of them. And then I began looking very closely just a few weeks ago. And here's a few others that I noticed. Those 4 pink squares replicate. So let's take a close look at them. The corners of each of them. So the orange, 1 plus 9 is 10, plus 13 is 23, and 5, that's 28. Look at the teal, you've got 8 and 2 is 10, and then 6 is 16, plus 12 is 28. Let's look at the 4 yellows. You've got 2 plus 10 is 12, and 4 is 16, plus 12 is 28. The whites, 9 and 3 is 12, plus 5 is 17, plus 11 is 28, and across the middle, you've got 3 and 10 is 13, plus 4 is 17, plus 11 is 28. Now, of course, that pattern repeats all over the place, those red square circles and those blues. And so then I looked at the whole Tzolk itself, and I have numbered these for you so that the corners are numbered, and you can see very clearly, if you add them all up, every single numbered set of 4 corners equals 28. 3, 4, 5, 6 down the central middle column, actually. The middle 4 squares is the 65th complete set of 28. Every single set of 4 equals 28, and that blows my mind. Now, actually, this information was brought to us by Mr. Tony Shearer in his second book. And here's his first. Where are you? This was 1971, and he, at that time, he knew personally Jose Arguelles and told Jose about all of these things. including the very first publication of the 13 by 20 grid. And then 3 years later, Tony brought forth this information, which was the first, go back a bit. This box here was the first ever presentation of that pattern, which somebody else used quite a bit. Now, it's fascinating to me that Tony has the same Mayan birthday as these people. And of course, if you want to see that video, and I just found out about Robert Beauval recently, so he's not in the video, but it's still all the same information. Now, many, many years later, in Earth Ascending, Jose began to present this information as if it was his own. He did not mention Tony Shearer at all for being the first person to illustrate this information. And Jose called it some really interesting terms, and then did some very artistic and wacky, cray-cray diversionary tactics, which is just fascinating. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in a little while. So what we can see is that through the simple matrix of 20 and 13, well, ankle, knee, hip, what we have is a template for not only the human body, but as we've learned from Swaru, approximately 400,000 humanoid species exist in the Milky Way galaxy. So as long as they have 5 fingers and toes and 13 joints of movement, the Tzolk would fit for them as well. So we're truly in a cosmic realm here. And now I'm going to take it quite a bit deeper. Normally, I would present this slide point by point, very slowly, but you can screenshot it and read it. And now I'm going to sum it up. Basically, the long count, the famous Mayan calendar that ended on winter solstice, which should actually be called December solstice, was precisely 7,200 Tzolk'in. 5 long counts is precisely 1 precession of the equinoxes, which is precisely 36,000 Tzolk'in, not 1 day more or 1 day less. Therefore, the Tzolk'in is a fractal of human DNA and the precession of the equinoxes. And that should really blow your mind. And if you're into regular numerology, you'll notice that all of those numbers add up to 9. So now it's time for a little bit more information. We need to take another look at what Uncle Joe brought through, called the dream spell. This is the actual pattern of the dream spell, because it skips a day every 4 years, and they call it Zero Hunab Ku Day. Now, the Hunab Ku to the Maya is the one and only creator of everything in existence. So the dream spell people are saying there's Zero God Day, and that day is every February 29th. And that's the pattern it makes. Additionally, if you follow the dream spell, you get a wrong Mayan birthday, and it's injected with Hollywood war memes. And despite the fact that the dream spell has been crying out how evil the Catholic calendar and its 1260 time work is, the dream spell, because it skips a day every February 29th, and because it uses July 26th, which was chosen by Friar Diego de Landa, the dream spell is the Catholic calendar version of the Mayan calendar. Here's another little trick they did. This book, one of many that was stolen from the Maya, contained this image, which Jose and his friends, or I don't know, it's a big mystery, inverted. You can see the direction of the spin is the opposite, and we all know who does inversions, right? Yes, we do. One of the most important things to notice here is that the dream spell claims to be 1320, but it's actually 12.999999993 by 19.999999992. It's a joke. If you need to know more, please watch my video, but honestly, you do not need to know more. So, your Mayan birthday on the truly cosmic Mayan calendar, for example, like Tata Alejandro, empowering reincarnation, and like this character, harmonizing solar chief, which is Inish Hanan Pakal. And then, for example, reflecting eagle, which is today. Oh my goodness, that's so exciting for me. And this is your core self. So each tone has a name and each glyph has a name, and that's your core self. The man in whose honor I made this PowerPoint, who created the whole realm that is Portal to Ascension, is called Manifesting Starseed, and that blows my mind. If you want to see his video, it's on my channel, duh. Now, you need to understand something. The whole basis of what I'm teaching happened to me. I'm going to stop sharing for a moment. What happened to me is I had been studying the Mayan calendar for many years. I knew about the system called the Mayan destiny path or the Mayan cross or the Mayan tree of life, in which people have 4 guides. But the way the Maya teach it is different. And I have a slide to show the way they teach it. I had been learning it since 1999 when I first read Jaguar Wisdom by Kenneth Johnson. And I just couldn't internalize the system. It wasn't sinking in. One day, about 6 years ago, I was sitting meditating in this chair, and I had memorized a guided meditation. And let me just go back to my PowerPoint, and it's a little easier to show with the slides. So here's the way the Maya teach it. They call it the Mayan cross, like I said, or destiny path, and they put you in the center and your guides around you. And here's one from the Mayan cross. And then this is from the book where they ask you to visualize yourself being on the Tzolk grid and walking 9 steps forward and 9 steps back and 7 steps forward and 7 steps back. And I could never internalize that. And then I was sitting in meditation, repeating that guided meditation to myself, and zap, this was beamed into me. And it's not like you're looking at right now. I was inside the circular Tzolk'in, and I felt my right hand being tightly gripped, and my attention went to it. And then my thoughts went back to my, what I now call, past wisdom guide. And then I realized my left hand was being gently caressed, and my attention went over here, and I looked up to my future vision guide. That whole thing lasted for approximately 1 second. and it completely changed my life. It blew me away. I am not a visual meditator. I've done hundreds of hours of guided visualization meditations, and I do not see anything. And I saw this and felt it much more clearly than my daily life. So I began studying. These are just some of the books and websites I began studying carefully, many other books as well. And I started doing people's Mayan astrology, and I created my website. And just 2 weeks ago, on the June solstice and full moon of 2024, my website went live. You can find your Mayan birthday and put in today's date. Oh my goodness, there's my birthday. That's today's date. You can also find this playful way of showing it. I know this can be a little bit too much eye candy for those people who are completely unfamiliar with the Mayan calendar. So I chose to display it in this way. By the way, Da Vinci himself was a reflecting jaguar shaman, which is pretty cool. And you can find out your basic core self codes as well. So again, this is a lot. And what I really want you to focus on is this. These 4 titles, if you will. So what was revealed to me, what came through me, I did not create this. It was beamed into me. It was literally a download that I then had to figure out what it all meant. And what it means is every single human being has a past wisdom guide, a divine feminine guide, a divine masculine guide, and a future vision guide. Yes, these are other days on the calendar, and other people are born on those days, but they are here to reflect to you who you are in your core self. They are not external people or energies. Each day is connected to these other days as reflections of oneself. Indeed, remember the Mayan famous saying, Een Lak'esh alakin. I am you, you are me. We are one Godshiousness. We are all holy holograms of the prime creator. We are all sacred sparks of the source. We are all divine fractals of the one. I think it's clear to us all that we are in the age of the return of the divine feminine. I think we all understand that for thousands of years, the feminine has been trampled upon, raped, destroyed, murdered, tortured. When we can embody the divine feminine and the divine masculine that is within each and every one of us, we can then create the internal sacred wedding, the Hieros Gamos. This is a 3,000-year-old Greek terminology for the internal marriage of divine feminine and divine masculine. That's where we are now. Nobody outside of you can complete you. There is no such thing as a twin flame in the way that it has been portrayed in the last 20 years as your other half. That is not possible. You are a complete and whole person. We have been lied to for thousands and thousands of years. In order to embody your divine feminine and divine masculine, you need to integrate your shadows. And guess what? Mayan embodiment contains this. Here's an example of myself and everyone who's born standing on tone 7 and or the eagle. These are our specific ego shadow dramas and challenges. But don't worry, there's lots of lovely qualities as well. And the eagle-eyed among you will notice the chakras being present for both. And here's another vision that I was given. The chakras line up in this manner so that every 13 days focuses on one in particular, and the 13th day focuses on all 7. There's today the little eagle at the top. Hi there, Crispy. I mean, Ram Dass and those other people as well. Now, if I do a reading for you, I will customize a document with all of those lovely visuals and soul splain every aspect for you. You will also receive a 58-page PDF, 300 DPI, which includes a calendar, 13 months. Whichever month you order it in, it will go up to the following year, and all of the other patterns and relationships, but possibly the deepest heart-centered core is the shadow ego work. I will do this with you. I will go through this with you one-on-one on Zoom or FaceTime or whatever means you would like to connect, and help you understand yourself to a newer, deeper level. As I mentioned, these are my holy holograms. I always tell everyone theirs, including their guides. And here's one fascinating example. Neil has Admiral Adam Apollo as his divine feminine guide, which automatically therefore means that Adam has Neil as his divine masculine guide. And there are other people with those birthdays, as you know. So Adam also has Kate Winslet and Elon Musk as his divine masculine guide. So there's super deeply entwined multi-dimensional levels to this whole calendar, and it thrills me to no end. The reason I found this out was only once I began drawing out the charts for my family. Here's me on the left, and there's my wife on the right. And as you can see, my divine masculine guide is my wife. It's not her tone as well, so it is her glyph, which therefore means that my glyph is her divine feminine guide. My wife is guided by me in her divine femininity. Now, our son, Toa, precisely is her past wisdom guide, which means my son, Toa, has my wife, Lie, as his future vision guide, meaning tone and glyph. And that's 1 out of 260, which is the same relationship as these two characters, which percentage-wise is 0.038%. With my wife, it's a 5% chance that she is 1 out of 20, my divine masculine guide. So in the 58-page PDF, you will be told about the 4 bodies and the relationships between all of the glyphs and your step family. Here's my step family. And this is the way that I relate to the white and the yellow glyphs. And a little visual here for you. That's my step family. It does not include the tones. And that's because we are directly across the wheel, and so is everyone else's step family relationship, of course. So if you're interested, the reading section of my website explains this much further. In summary, the Mayan calendar does contain this information, but it's impossible to see it in any other way as clearly as it is with Mayan embodiment, that every single human being has divine feminine and divine masculine energies. You can find out precisely what yours are through Mayan embodiment, and your past and future as well. Now, again, I think we all know why we are having these problems for the last many thousand years. I call them the Darktilian takeover. As has been made clear on Portal to Ascension, there are good and neutral and, I would say, dark reptilian energies, as there are for all entities. And we've been fooled to believe the creator is an angry old man judging us, and that is 100% false. And this has filtered down into our entertainment and entrainment industry, as well as politics and religion. But in reality, duality is perfect. So, therefore, Mayan embodiment is soul cartography and a Pleiadian portal to ascension. Here's all my data. Hopefully you know all this already. So just going to bring it back to me to close things out. Again, I was given this information in an unforgettable 1-second download, transmission, whatever you want to call it, embodiment. It came with no instructions. I had to do an incredible amount of research on my own, and I am 100% confident that what I'm offering to you is the most pure information I possibly can, that, as I think you can feel into now, is connected to not just the Pleiades, but possibly the divine source, mother, father, creatorix itself, which I call Godsciousness. It would please me very much to do your Mayan embodiment astrology. Een Lak'esh Alak'in, with unconditional love and universal truth. Namaste.